In this video, we address what's been happening over the last few days. From economy changes to review bombs to the developers' response and even a boycott from a players' union. Okay, I think it's time. Let's talk about this. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's a rare occurrence where I have to break out a webcam, but I think this time it's pretty much warranted. Now, as I'm scrolling through the information I have in front of me here, I think I'd like to preface this with, I don't really want to attract any drama, I'd just like to see the game get better. And thankfully, as of today, it looks like that's going to be the case. But firstly, how did this happen and how did it get to this stage? Well, back in May 4th, this was posted on the forum with a very vague list of things that were being changed, but most of it looked positive. Unfortunately though, on May 17th, a lot of players, including myself, noticed the rewards for battles had been reduced by quite a lot. The results of which were quite apparent. As you can see here with this game, I had 10 kills, 2 caps, and even dropped a nuke, only earning 92,000 silver lions. Now, I understand for a newer player who might think that's quite a lot of reward, bear in mind I was using a premium vehicle and I had premium time and was in a match for a very long time. And then came the review bombing. Now, I'd like to add my own 2 cents onto here that I don't think this is actually a review bombing. If most people have played more than 20 hours of a video game, which most people have who's left a review, it's just a review. So the negative views started flowing in on the 17th and all the way to the 18th as well. This seemed to have garnered the attention of Gaijin, who decided to revert the changes that were made to the economy. This all happened on the 19th of May, but the negative reviews, they didn't stop coming. Continuing on from the 19th of May and then again through the 20th, things just seem to get worse. It almost feels like the last 3 years of negative economy changes have snowballed and players just got sick fed up. But no one got more sick fed up than the director of Gaijin Entertainment, Kirill. On the same day, on the 19th of May, Kirill had some very choice cringe things to say about the player base. I guess seeing your own game being review bombed to oblivion is probably a little bit emotional, but to say things like you can't give the player everything at once because it'll overwhelm and make the game very difficult for them and they'll just leave it immediately or almost immediately while simultaneously selling $70 premiums on their website is a bit weird. Maybe if your intention is to not make the player base overwhelmed when they buy a top tier premium jet or a tank, have the binds actually set up for the vehicle. No, I'm not joking. If you buy a top tier jet and you're new to the game, you won't have the proper bind set to fire your own missiles. To make things worse, the tutorial you get for flying is in a World War II biplane. Kirill also had this to say about the player base: about 80% have never paid a dime into the game. Pretty weird way to word that. Which is weird. When I put this poll on YouTube, it got 30k votes. 42% of players said that they did pay to play. To give the benefit of the doubt, Kirill might be talking about the inactive player base as well as the active player base, and of course, if there's an inactive player base, they're not going to be paying any money, nor are they playing the game. Kirill then does his best to explain how a free-to-play game works and how people should be having fun. Then he says something that I agree with, which is you should invest in the game if you're having fun. The problem is though, due to the economy, it seems like tens of thousands of people really aren't. Now, in order to investigate why, let's put up the game and see how many monetized options there are in War Thunder. Golden Eagles, premium account, weird profile icons. This is almost $15 by the way. Accelerated training of crew skills, the most pay to win thing in the game. Bushes, funny decals, funny decorators. These are almost $5 each. Would you like an Israeli flag for your Israeli tank? $4 please. Camouflages you can earn. Battle passes. Let's not forget the marketplace, $2,000 for a tank. Now, I've heard the excuse thrown around for the marketplace saying that it's player driven and of course people are trading coupons, but someone had to put the money in there somewhere in order to make it profitable. It was me. People like me. I put a lot of money into the marketplace. But there's one thing that frustrates players the most, and it never gets talked about a lot, is the sheer volume of vehicles. Just look at the amount of vehicles in the US tech tree, even when you look at the aviation, and now you've got blue water and coastal fleet. The amount of time it takes to grind a single tech tree is just absurd. Couple that with the fact that most patches nowadays only give you top tier vehicles, which are pretty much unobtainium to 90% of the player base. Just think about this. When was the last time you saw a dev blog and saw, oh hey, I can start researching this tank immediately? Probably not. It's hard to get excited for a patch if you're a newer player or you just don't have enough time to play the game, because it just adds more additional tanks in the way of the top tier stuff so you can get there, which makes the grind just even more worse. This all leads to the economy affecting the gameplay in a couple of ways. Some people can't afford to spawn in another tank because they don't have enough silver lions, so they leave. They go buy a premium vehicle, they die once, and they leave the match, leaving games really barren of players. It of course doesn't help that after you've paid for crews, it actually starts to cost real money, which you'll see right here. Here's the first one, 200 golden eagles, and then the one after that is 500, and then the one after that is 800, and then every subsequent one after that is 1200 golden eagles. Mechanics like this, along with the economy changes, just make the game overall more difficult to play for newer players or people who are just playing casually against players like me and many others who are much better. The imbalance of the economy and the repair costs of top tier vehicles mean that players have to drop down to BRs like 5.7 and then be forced to play against players like myself who have collected a lot of premium vehicles and of course tech tree ones with excellent crew skills, and it just makes it harder overall. What makes this worse is some people just aren't interested in World War II vehicles or even Cold War ones. They only want the good modern stuff, and if they can't afford to keep playing them, they're forced to play vehicles that they don't enjoy playing. Which of course makes this writing by Kirill just completely tone deaf and just doesn't understand how the game works for players who are just trying to enjoy themselves. I personally think the economy should be changed to make it easier to grind, but on the flip side, there has to be some encouragement to make players stay in matches in order to make them fun. Currently, and unfortunately, the best way to grind through a tech tree is to buy a top tier premium and just bring this vehicle out alone. Play as many games and do as well as you can in a short period of time and just leave the match, leaving everyone else inside the game with less people to shoot at. Now, Gaijin did try to relieve some of this by adding strike drones to the game, which gave a player an extra vehicle for free, but they're more annoying than good. Just as a quick suggestion, I think it would be better if you bought a terms, it would come with a BMP2 unlocked from your tech tree, and of course an SPA as well. Now, I'm not naive, I don't believe this will stop every single one death leaver that buys a top tier premium tank, but at least it will help a little bit. So the good news in all of this is the review bombing actually did help, and of course these changes have been reverted, and it looks like Gaijin, at least from today, look like they're going to make some positive changes. But like I said, I'm not naive, I'm not going to be holding my breath. Especially since it looks like Gaijin have actually removed Steam from their website in an attempt to quash the amount of people being able to see it. Now, I'm not a very clever man, but I'm pretty switched on when it comes to people and people being angry. They'll just migrate to other platforms to review bomb there, which of course, since they've done this, has already migrated over to Google. I guess if there's anything to be learned here for the Gaijin developers is when people get mad about things that you do, there's really no hiding from it. For me, I absolutely loved this game at one point 3 years ago, and then I turned to making YouTube content because it was just another outlet for me to enjoy myself. I enjoy using War Thunder as an outlet to make stories for you guys, but I really want to wake up in the morning and look forward to turning the game back on. I'm not one of these people who wants to watch the world burn. The easiest solution here is that these issues get fixed, and it makes it better for everyone. Now, there is a War Thunder's player union that's been formed, and they're planning a boycott on the 26th. But for me, the best thing you can do is just leave an honest review. If the words that you use are genuine and your intent is not malicious, these are the things that get real, genuine change made. And that's what's made the difference. This is a really difficult position for Gaijin to be in, and an uncomfortable one, but it does mean that they have to make change, or those reviews stay there. You have every right to be angry and frustrated at War Thunder's economy, no matter what Gaijin do. But promise me this, if they fix it, you change that review. Every rant has to have a resolution. Let's hope it's a positive one. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Much love, and bye-bye.